And now you see why it's dangerous to bring your kids to my office during recording sessions. We are going to talk about sources of bias, and there's entire classes on this topic, but we're just going to learn a couple of important vocabulary words. Let's talk about types of sampling bias. First up is non-response bias. That's where you have a group that you ask to be in your survey and they just don't respond, they refuse, something like that. A famous one is Dear Abby. She sent out 200,000 letters to her readers. And the question was, if you could go back in time, would you still choose to have children? 70% said no. That was shocking. Parents actually hate their children. Well, who responded to that letter? Well, certainly the parents who just had a kid, who took the turtle, put him upside down on the trampoline. Why do you even have a turtle? You can't snuggle. Point is, many of those 200,000 readers did not respond, and a lot of them were parents who were very happy with their children and loved them. But the ones who felt strongly because they were frustrated or angry replied and said no. Another type of sampling bias is volunteer bias. This is where it's open to everybody, but only people with a strong opinion are going to come to do the survey. So it's like setting up a sign right here on Prexy's pasture. Stop by our booth and vote whether you think immigration policy should be dropped. Well, a lot of people are going to pass by that booth, see the sign and think, oh, I do have an opinion. It's just not strong enough that I'm going to take my time to stop. Who is going to stop? People who really strongly feel the answer should be yes or no. Those are the people you're going to get. Well, that's biased because you're only getting the strongest opinions. You're not getting a nice majority or a random sample. The difference between non-response and volunteer is here you, the surveyor, picked who you wanted and some said no. But not everybody had a chance to be in your survey. Here, everyone in the world could have walked by your booth, but also anyone is allowed to say, no, I don't want to be part of that survey. Here, you could name the people who didn't take part. Here, you have no idea who all did not take part in your survey. The third type we're going to talk about is undercoverage. That's where you have a group that you want to sample, but you only sample a subpart. And the part that doesn't get sampled isn't random. There's something about them. So imagine a survey where we're going to survey all the biggest houses in Wyoming. And we're going to ask, should we tax families with more than 3 children? Well, my family has 4 children, but we definitely don't have the biggest house in Wyoming. So is there bias from the fact that you're only sampling big homes? Well, possibly. Are bigger homes more likely to have more children or more likely to not have children? There could be some bias going on here because you're under coverage a specific type of the population. Here's a famous example of undercoverage. They did a survey to try to figure out who was going to be the next president. And it turns out Dewey was by far going to win the election. In the end, Truman beat the election, and the newspaper got caught with bad statistics because they thought Dewey was going to win so much they had the headlines already ready, and that ended up not being true. What happened? They telephoned viewers to survey them. Well, back in the day, only rich people had telephones. So they were surveying the rich people, but there was undercoverage of the poor population, and the poor population was voting en masse for Truman. We still face this same problem today because interviewers do landlines and not cell phones. But college students are more likely to have cell phones, and this is a big issue that we haven't yet figured out. What all of these have in similar is they all are getting a specific part of the population and another part is being left out. The difference is what you would do if you needed to fix it. For non-response, you need to motivate people to take your survey. That's why some surveys have bribes or a contest or a raffle or something to try to get you to do that. Another way you can do it is do this intense study to figure out who did not respond and try to figure out why. And if you can figure out the percentages there, then you can guess what the non-responders would have said. Oh, that's difficult. For volunteer response, you need to specially pick people, not just allow people to choose to be part of your survey, but put up a stand in Prexy's pasture and say, I'm going to pick every 5th one. There's a systematic sample. Something to where you are choosing the people instead of the people choosing to be part of your survey. For undercoverage, it's plan a little better. Oh, it looks like we've got the rich population. Now what can we do to get the middle class and the lower class? And we have an entire class called Sampling, all about how to estimate what the people who didn't respond would have said, and how to pick your survey methods so that you get good results. But for this class, these are the 3 types of sampling bias you need to know.